Alrighty, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. I do thank you for clicking on it and watching this video. So today I'm going to run through quite a deck I've been working on. I'm super excited for it. It is Traptrix Dogmatika. So one thing about me is I love decks that mix two archetypes together. I played majority of my time during hat format. And hat format was so special to me because it wasn't like one archetype taking over the whole game. It was a mix of a bunch of different archetypes being the best deck. And so I've really tried to carry that through my deck building usually. Like in my Dark Edition deck, I run a Dogmatica package and everything like that. So I do really enjoy mixing archetypes, and Traptrix just meld really well with Dogmatica. And so I'm going to run you through my version of the deck of Master Duel. So we will most likely be running this deck for the first couple episodes of my Road to Ranked. That will come up probably on Monday. And so let's just jump into the deck profile. So starting out, we do have 3 Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's just the safest hand trap in the game. It's just the safe. You can throw it into any deck and be successful, so that's the reason we run it. I run Ash in every single deck I play. And then going into the Traptrix cards, the best Traptrix, it was the first Traptrix, and it's still the best one, Myrmeleo. Myrmeleo is basically the Stratos of the deck. It searches any of your trap hole cards. And also, when she's special summoned from the grave, or special summon in general, she can pop a card on the field, and that is a mandatory effect that will activate with Sera, which we'll go into later. So 3 copies of Traptrix Myrmeleo, going on to 2 Dionaea. Dionaea, we only run 2 because she's very good, but 3 is just way too much. So she's basically, when she's normal summoned, she can bring a Traptrix from the graveyard. She's basically called the Haunted. But each Traptrix, like Myrmeleo, has that pop when it's special summoned. So 2 Dionaea, and she's also just a good rank 4 engine. But 3 Myrmeleo, 2 Dionaea, and then we go into 3 Mantis. Mantis is the Stratos of the deck. She searches any Traptrix monster. So usually if you open up Mantis, you're going to go into Myrmeleo. And also, all of these cards go into our Traptrix Sera, which is by far the greatest card in the deck. And so 3 Myrmeleo, 2 Dionaea, 3 Mantis. That's your Traptrix engine, for monsters at least. We do have some trap hole cards we run, but other than that, that is just basically the core of Traptrix. If you have this core, you can basically run any Traptrix deck. Alrighty, going into the Dogmatica package. So we do run 2 Ecclesia. Let me get my pretty one. I pulled this card and I couldn't believe it. So we have 2 Dogmatica Ecclesia, the Virtuous. So this card, whenever it's special summoned or normal summoned, you can add 1 Dogmatica card from your deck to your hand, which could be your Fleurdelis or your Dogmatica Punishment, which is probably the best trap in the deck. So Dogmatica Ecclesia, the Virtuous. We only run 2. I did cut it down to 3. I was running 3 originally, but I cut it down just because I wanted a little more trap utility in the deck. And so that's the reason we've cut it down. So we're running a pretty slim Dogmatica engine, and we could up it again, but for now, I felt in playtesting they were just a little too bricky, and getting shut out of our extra deck for like 2 turns basically is quite a big hindrance. From just the games I was playtesting, so I'm playing the slimmer version here. And then for our next Dogmatica card, we're running 1 Fleurdelis. Fleurdelis, this is basically the boss monster of the deck. This card is insane. So if you have if there's an extra deck monster on the field, you can special summon it, and then if you have another Dogmatica monster, you can basically skill drain 1 card. Just negate a face-up monster until the end of the turn, and that's once per turn. And then when you have another Dogmatica attacking, she buffs their attack by 500. So she becomes 3,000, Ecclesia becomes 2,000, and that's a permanent attack gain. And the attack gain does matter in the end. And since we are running the slimmer engine of Dogmatica, we are running 1 Nadir Servant, just because this could be another copy of Ecclesia, it could be another copy of the Fleurdelis if we're looking for it. So that's why I'm comfortable running the 2 Ecclesia, because we do have the 1 Nadir Servant. And then our other monster that's not in the engine is just 1 Parallel Exceed. This card is a rank 4 powerhouse. This card is so good. Going into a Sera, having this card in your hand, link 1 Sera And this card is a free Rafflesia, or any rank 4 that you need, so definitely run 3 Parallel Exceed. Super good card in the deck. Okay. Going into spells, very limited amount of spells just because it's a trap-heavy deck, but I am running 3 Pot of Prosperity. I am on the fence of how I feel about this card. I feel like it is the best pot card for this deck, but it's just going to take playtesting to learn which extra deck card you want to banish. It can come in clutch. We are running enough extra deck cards to banish, and so it's basically just a way better Pot of Duality. So I do like it. If you are running a pot card in this deck, I do recommend Pot of Prosperity. For traps, basic traps, really, Torrential Tribute, I say craft this card. It's only a rare, and so having three of this card in every deck is pretty good. And then we have 3 Shade Brigandine. Shade Brigandine is basically another rank 4 monster. So, like I said, going into Sera with this card and then any other level 4 monster is automatically a Rafflesia or any other rank 4 XYZ monster. And it's also just really good link material as well. So Shade Brigandine definitely run at 3. It's just another rank level 4 monster you can use to link climb or go into XYZ. And it's a normal trap, so it does activate Sera's effect. And then for our trap hole cards, I am running the 1 Bottomless trap hole. I feel like this card is just super basic. There's a reason it's been as good as it has for as long as possible. And we are running a little bit of a fun little combo. I say combo in air quotes with this card just because there are some fun things we can do with the link to Traptrix monster. And also, this is searchable, and it banishes. So, I mean, it's a very good card. At least at 1. For our next trap hole is Floodgate Trap Hole. So this card is basically a Book of Moon, but it's a permanent Book of Moon. They can't flip the card back up. So I run 2 Floodgate Trap Hole. And there's really not much to say about it. It's just a way better Book of Moon, and it's searchable. All these trap hole cards are searchable, which is crazy. Gravedigger Trap Hole. This is essentially, I'm going to equate it to Called by the Grave, but it's a little bit different. So with Called by the Grave, it negates hand traps, it negates graveyard effects, and if a banished monster effect is activated, you can negate it as well. So it's really good against like rogue zombie decks you'll find in ranked. And if it does negate an effect, you inflict 2k to your opponent, which is, it's like, why? But also it's like a free 2k damage. Like, this card just negating the effects would be good, but again, they throw 2k on the opponent as well. So definitely run this card. I feel like this is the best trap hole card in the game, and we run it at 2. Okay, so moving on to Dogmatica Punishment. Like I said, I feel like this is the best trap in the game, just because it revolves so much of our extra deck and everything in it. So Dogmatica Punishment, I've talked about it in my Dark Magician deck. This card is bloated. So it's basically a pop 1 card by sending an extra deck to the monster. And so when we go over the extra deck, I'll show you what synergy it has with Dogmatica Punishment. But know that it is just a free pop 1, and you can send a monster from the extra deck to the grave. So that in general is a good card. Now this card. Oh my gosh, this card is bloated. I talked so much crap on this card. I was like, this card's not good. I don't like it. I don't know why you would run it. Oh my gosh, if you're running a trap deck, run this card. This card is so good. For instance, I was playing against a Blue Eyes player. They had 1 Blue Eyes on their field, and they had a Blue Eyes in their graveyard. I activated Ash Dragon's Prison, summoned their Blue Eyes to my field, then I banished both Blue Eyes. So that literally, for 1 card, you make your opponent lose 2 of their most important cards. Like, for rogue decks, it's crazy. Like I said, Blue Eyes, this dismantles Blue Eyes. This destroys Dark Magician. This destroys so many other cards. Just even having, like, not even just like their boss monster. It just stops cards. This card is so good. And then for our last 2 cards, it's just our flood. 1 Solemn Judgement. It's the free card they give you. I would run it. It's free. And then the 1 Imperial Order. This card is pretty degenerate, and we only run the 1. So I mean, you don't see it all the time, but when you do see it, it is pretty mean, and that is just reason enough for me to run it. I love floodgates. I don't abuse them, but they are fun. So that is the main deck, 40 cards, and it's pretty consistent in playtesting. Setting up a first turn board is pretty standard with like a Sera and a Rafflesia, and that just basically sets you on. The Dogmatika cards are just extra interruptions and things like that. So going on to the extra deck is difficult. This is a very tight extra deck, I feel, because we run the Dogmatika cards, and you have to run Traptrix Sera. So all in all, you don't have that much of an extra deck space, but I feel like this does work. So starting off with our Dogmatika cards. I've talked about it in my Dark Magician profile, but Intis with Dogmatika Punishment. One sec. Intis with Dogmatika Punishment is absolutely insane. So we talked about how Dogmatika Punishment, you can target a face-up monster on the opponent's field, send a card from the extra deck to the grave, then pop that monster. Sending Intis with this effect, Intis has the effect that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. So that is basically a pop 2. So it is a pop 2. It's not basically a pop 2. It is a pop 2, and it's absolutely disgusting to do to some people, especially if they don't have like protection on their monsters. It's crazy. It pops back row, it pops boss monsters, it's everything. So I run 2 Intis in the extra deck with Dogmatika Punishment. The third card we run with Dogmatika Punishment is Titaniklad. Titaniklad is the Dogmatika extra deck monster. So if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or special summon one Dogmatika monster from your deck. So this gets us our big boss monster Fleurdelis if we need it. It gets us an Ecclesia, which searches another punishment. So we can either get another interruption or get our boss monster by sending Titaniklad. They do lock you out of the extra deck, and I have come into some duels where getting locked out of the extra deck does slow the game down a ton, and it doesn't let you pop off how you want. Because after activating this effect, you basically can't use your extra deck for 2 turns. It can be a hindrance, but overall, having all these interruptions makes it worth it. A card I've been looking into is Omega. Omega is another card we send with Dogmatika Punishment, the 2800 attack monster, so we are able to destroy majority of the cards in the field unless they're 3000 or more. But this card lets us recycle our punishment targets. So say Omega's in the graveyard, you can send Omega back and another Intis, you can send Titaniklad back, so it just lets us refill our Dogmatika Punishment cards. And then going into some just basic Xyz monsters, we do run Utopia. Utopia doesn't need much explaining, it's just a pretty good card. And then we have Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is just another really good, not necessarily a floodgate, but it does stop a lot of cards from activating in the grave, and so it's just good to sit on first turn. Rafflesia, probably the most common rank 4 we'll go into. It gives us all of our whole trap cards on the first turn. So usually my first turn board will go into Sera, and then we'll go into Rafflesia. Rafflesia will let us have a bottomless trap hole or whichever other trap hole we need. And so we just have interruptions on our opponent's turn. Bagooska. I'm so conflicted about this card. This card is good. In its text, it's good. But the way this card works is that usually you'll summon it in defense, and that basically makes it a skill drain, and no monsters can attack, because every time a monster is summoned, it goes to defense. It only lasts 3 turns, and it ends on your turn, so it pops off. You can pop off after it's done. However, Bagooska slows the game down so much, and it's sometimes just not fun to play that slow of a game, but if you're croaking out wins, Bagooska is worth it. So that's the reason it has a spot. And we do run the one Utopia the Lightning to pair with our Utopia, just base Utopia. This card gets us over boss monsters. It becomes a 5k beater, and so it's just a really good OTK card, or it's just a very good just get over a boss monster. Then we run Zeus. Zeus is also just a summon me and we win the game card. You can sit on this card and just slow the game down to whatever you want, and it's also just super good. You can Utopia the Lightning Swing, and then land on Zeus, and you're fine. Or just Rafflesia attacks, summon Bagooska, you're fine. Abyss Dweller, again, Zeus is just so good. It works with all of these cards. Definitely the most important extra deck monster of the game. deck is Sera. We do run 3 copies of Sera. Sera is basically the heart and soul of this deck. Protect Sera at all costs. Sera's just way too good. She basically starts our whole deck off. So if a normal trap is activated, you can special summon a Traptrix monster. And then if a Traptrix monster effect is activated, you can set a normal whole spell or trap card from the deck. So the play basically is Sera. Activate any of these cards to special summon a Myrmeleo. Myrmeleo effect has to activate. Even if your opponent doesn't have a spell or trap card on the field, Myrmeleo effect has to activate. It's mandatory. So you get Sera's effect to set a hole from the deck. So that's why that is so good. The interaction is so good. Knightmare Pheonix. I never go into this card. Knightmare Pheonix is just here just in case we ever need it, but it could possibly be swapped out for something else. However, I don't have a ton of crafting materials for anything better, so Knightmare Pheonix is just a really good staple to have, so that's why it's in the deck. And then the last card in the extra deck is Traptrix Rafflesia. She's interesting. She has some fun interactions with these whole trap cards. So I will try and do like Sera effect, or Sera. She'll special summon a Traptrix Myrmeleo. We'll have a Bottomless, and then we'll go into Rafflesia just to sit on. And so her effect is whenever you activate a whole trap, you can set it again. So you basically have infinite Bottomless unless the opponent pops it. So things like that are just fun to have, and that's the reason we run the deck. So that is my Traptrix Dogmatika deck. Like I said, we probably will be using this in our Road to Ranked series, at least for the first week or so, just to lay the waters and play a little fun deck in the lower ranks. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to, you can go ahead and like this video and subscribe. You don't have to, but it does give me a warm and fuzzy feeling inside when you do, and I like feeling that way. So yeah, thanks for watching. I do stream on Twitch. If you want to follow that, all my links will be in the description below. So thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Bye.